It turns out the real owner of Igo Cafe has been an open secret all along. Welcome to part 2. Since putting out my earlier video, I've been bombarded with messages saying that David Mooney, a notorious figure, is the real owner of Igo Cafe. Apparently, everyone in Sallynoggin knew about this, but I needed written proof. According to some commencement notices for refugee centres at Delehanty House, David Mooney is confirmed as the owner of Igo Emergency Management Services, meaning that he is the ultimate owner of the cafe. Okay, so what's the big deal? Who is David Mooney? Well, he's got a colourful past, to say the very least. In the early 2000s, Mooney set up an infamous strip club in Temple Bar called Bunnies. As a result, he was involved in all sorts. So back in the early 2000s, Mooney was involved in a lot of nefarious activities. Eventually, things boiled over when members of the Continuity IRA demanded protection money from him. This all led to Mooney turning to a state witness and members of the IRA being imprisoned. So while in the witness box, Mooney admitted that he used to impersonate a Garda in order to get car insurance. He was also accused of having a cocaine addiction and assaulting a dancer in his club, which he denied. Some of the court reports shine an interesting light on Mooney's character. Here he is described as a balloon head, and it says that he turned people's lives upside down. He was the biggest issue in the club. There had been no problems with the IRA before him. So after being a state witness in 2003, he entered the witness protection program. But because of his flamboyant nature, it made it impossible for him to keep a low profile. So he didn't really last too long in witness protection. And by 2013, he then turned to suing the state because he claimed they failed to protect him and conceal his identity. Mooney's case became so high profile that his name was actually mentioned in the Dáil in 2015 by Fianna Fáil TD Niall Collins, who is still a TD today and is no stranger to controversy. And he admitted in the Dáil that Mooney contacted him directly. That's pretty interesting. Eventually, in 2016, the judge threw out Mooney's case. The judge basically said that Mooney lived too much of a playboy lifestyle and was not suited to witness protection. So back to Igo Cafe. How is Mooney connected to the two directors that paid themselves $1.3 million last year? Well, as it turns out, Christina Andreas, one of the directors, is actually Mooney's partner. Here she is on Facebook showing off her recent Valentine's Day present, which is a brand new BMW 241 worth well over 100k. And we also have on Facebook a picture from her father who is saying thank you to Mooney and Christina for sending him this car as a birthday present. As for the other director, Anne Murphy, this is a very common name, so it's kind of hard to track down who Anne Murphy is. But all we do know is that her address is given as Barras O'Kane. And according to this report from Tip FM, Mooney actually originates from Barras O'Kane. So maybe it's his sister, an old friend. So here we have a situation where this guy Mooney is the sole person in charge of at least 10 refugee centres across the country. Like, he's in charge of up to 4,000 people and is in receipt of 50 million euros every year from the state. He operates the refugee centres at Cupura Estate, Newtown Mount Kennedy, Kilbride Army Camp, Crooksling, Dalkane House, Ilbana Avenue, Edmund Rice College, Thornton Hall, Heatherside Hospital in Cork, and others in Rathmines and Ranelagh. Like, how did we get here? How did such a notorious high-profile character like Mooney end up being awarded such a massive and controversial state contracts? Like, a man accused in the Special Criminal Court of having a cocaine addiction, of assaulting a female employee, admitted to impersonating a guard, who went on to sue the state, and his name being raised in the Dáil. Like, you could not make this up if you tried. This man is now in charge of 4,000 vulnerable adult male migrants across the country, and they're all sleeping in tents. So I'm demanding a full explanation of all connections, all political relationships to Mooney. Here we have Cormac Devlin, TD, in the year 2018, standing behind the restaurant counter in Igo Cafe awarding prizes. How on earth is that explained? There's so much in this story, it actually warrants an entire Netflix series, and I'm not joking here. And I'm certainly not the first person to discover this. In fact, the protesters at Newtown Mount Kennedy, Crooksling and other places have been shouting Mooney's name for almost a year now, only to be labelled far-right, racist or conspiracy theorists. But nobody bothered their arse to listen to them. Like, our media and political class seem to despise the ordinary Irish person. RTE did a full 90-minute expose of the riots a few weeks ago and deliberately ignored all of this. Over the last 6 months, Simon Harris has been at every country show. He's been to Ukraine, Washington. He's meeting Macron, Zelensky, Biden, Starmer, you name it. But I tell you, one place he hasn't been is inside one of Mooney's several refugee camps. Like, given that immigration is one of the top issues coming into this election, like, he should be all over this. So roll up your sleeves, Simon, and start sorting this out. Weak politicians create hard times. It is so easy to virtue signal by putting on a refugee's welcome jumper to feel good about yourself. But the reality is all you are doing is facilitating and encouraging a new type of organized human trafficking. The more refugees in this country, the more money Mooney makes. If I were him, I'd actually be buying plane tickets for the refugees to come here. I wonder if he's thought of that. So look, I'm calling bullshit on all this. Vote Nick Delehanty, independent in Dublin Bay South.